When the situation with Blitzchung in Hong Kong happened, I think everyone knew that BlizzCon was going to be pretty messy. Obviously, a lot of people were going to BlizzCon for their love of the Blizzard franchises. Diablo 4 is being rumored, Overwatch 2 was supposedly leaked, we have, of course, rumors about the next World of Warcraft expansion, but then you had another class of people, and those were the people that were going to protest. From very early on, there were crowdfunding projects to protest at BlizzCon, and even some pretty notable groups said that they were going. And I honestly questioned how Blizzard was going to handle that. They are not a company that's had to deal with this amount of negative press before. Obviously, they've said and done some pretty silly things in the past, but never to this extent. And now that opening day of BlizzCon is here, we know how Blizzard is handling the situation. Pretty damn poorly. There are already so many photos of protesters in Winnie the Pooh t-shirts and outfits and cosplayers as May that stand for Hong Kong. But a YouTuber was actually kicked out of BlizzCon for filming the protests. As you can see on screen, a YouTuber by the name of Dreamcast Guy, I'm sure that a lot of you know him, he's a pretty notable YouTuber at this point, went to BlizzCon to film not only the protests, but BlizzCon itself, the action, the excitement, like a lot of YouTubers do. Every year YouTubers go, they film, and they have that live reaction. And as you can see in one of the images, he had a pretty standard camera with him, nothing large or obnoxious, and he actually got kicked out of BlizzCon and was told to come back later once his camera was off the premises. As you can see, his screenshot said, "Was filming the BlizzCon protest and they kicked me out, yelling no cameras." Complete garbage since the rules clearly said small cameras were allowed. This is a very compact, small camera. Cameras don't get much smaller besides maybe a GoPro or even your cell phone. Remember last year when Blizzard asked if you all had cell phones? Well, I guess he's going to be, unfortunately, filming from his cell phone like he says, because he says, "Guess I am filming this dumpster fire con with my phone." What an absolute waste of time. And this shows how Blizzard is already reacting to the situation. They must have told, the higher-ups, I should say, must have told the security, if anyone has a camera, tell them to get it off the premises and tell them to come back later. At least he wasn't completely kicked out from the con and not allowed to come back, but of course if that happened and Blizzard was telling people you couldn't come back with like a one-strike system, that would have been a complete mess for them. But I don't imagine that this situation is going to get any easier for them at this point. He also continued on with saying, "Lots of stuff near the entrance in some of the trucks was busted in less than 15 minutes and told I couldn't come back in until I put my camera in my hotel room. Total trash because others around me had the same exact camera but weren't filming the protest and were allowed to pass." And it's obvious why. Blizzard does not want any coverage of the protests going on. Obviously, there are a lot of people there protesting, a lot of people discussing how they feel. I mean, look at this picture. It says, yeah, it took about 30 seconds to find pro-Hong Kong organizers at BlizzCon, but it's obvious that Blizzard wants to keep that negative press away from their event until at least after the weekend, so that maybe they can avoid it a little bit more. I don't know how Blizzard expected to avoid this situation completely, though. They knew that these protesters were coming. They should have probably told their staff to handle it a little better than, if you see anyone filming the protests, don't let them in and tell them to come back later. But that is all that I had to discuss with this video, how Blizzard is currently taking the protest situation. It doesn't sound like they're taking it very well. As BlizzCon 2019 continues, I will update you all on Twitter and in Discord, so make sure to check out those social media links in the description, and also make sure to watch out for more videos because I probably will update you all on the protests and any big announcements that are made. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you all again in the next one really soon.